This video is going to be how I diagnosed and changed my PTO on a Gravely Pro Turn 460 with the diesel engine. When I was mowing the grass, my blades would kick on and off real quick every now and then, but it would keep working. It was a bumpy field, so I figured this had something to do with me bouncing around. Then all of a sudden, the blades stopped spinning and stayed off. Everything else on the motor seemed fine. I stopped the mower and pushed and pulled the switch a few times with no luck. Next, I put on the parking brake and left the blades in the on position. The second I stood up, the mower shut off. At this point, I knew that it wasn't a switch issue and that it was going to be the electronic PTO engagement. You can check the fuses under your seat. The relay is number 4 and the 10 amp fuse is number 8. To start this project, you will need to take off the back cover, which I only filmed putting back on. First, you will want to remove the air hose from the engine. Then take off the 4 19mm bolts at the bottom of the cover. You will need a 19mm wrench and a socket to do this. An impact wrench works great because the cover has a slight bend into it so that it keeps pressure on the bolts throughout the entire time. With the cover off, you now need to take off the idler spring located underneath your feet. I found out later in the video that it's easier to pull it off from the front of the lawnmower versus the top, like in this clip. This is a picture of the belt routing and the spring adjustment that we will need later. Next, disconnect the electrical connection to the PTO. Using a 1/2 inch wrench and socket, remove the cover. Next, I removed the belt so that it was out of the way. Some people may want to loosen the PTO bolt before they loosen the belt at all. I didn't have any issues with this. If you did, you can always use a flathead screwdriver in the flywheel like I did later in the video to tighten it up. Remove the PTO bolt and pull the PTO off, ensuring not to lose the key pin. My factory part number was GT3.5 VP01D. The dealership wanted $490 just for the part, and it would take about a week to come in. Knowing them, it was going to take longer than that. I wasn't willing to wait that long or pay that much for the part. With a simple part number search on Google, I was able to find an upgraded PTO by Extreme Equipment. On their website, it was in the $400 range for it as well. I did a quick search on eBay with their part number and found it for $143 shipped. I compared the parts to make sure that they were the same. You will need to remove the rubber stop on your stock PTO because it does not come with a new one. I believe that this was a 1/2 inch. One thing to note when reinstalling the rubber piece is to use the open end of your wrench, or else this will happen to you and you will have to loosen it up and start all over again. Now it's time to reinstall the PTO. Just line it up and push it on. I then put the belt over the pulley and plugged it in so I wouldn't forget. I used a little anti-seize on the bolt and put it in finger tight. Now go up to the idler spring and reinstall it. You can see how much easier it was working from the front than from the top. Now adjust the spring to the correct length. Next, go back to the PTO using a flathead screwdriver on the flywheel. Tighten the bolt down to 55 foot-pounds. Next, reinstall the cover. Now it's time to test and make sure we fix the problem. All that's left to do is put the rear cover on and connect the air filter hose. With that, I want to say thank you for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below, and I will do my best to get back to you. Subscribe to see more content from me. Thanks again.